Hey everyone, welcome to 3 Buck Reviews. My name is Matt Jarbo, and I was sent a copy of the Cloverfield Paradox on Blu-ray to review, and I just got done checking out the movie for a second time, as well as the special features. And for a movie that dropped a year ago suddenly on Netflix during the Super Bowl, this is unfortunately relatively bare bones in regards for what you're going to get. This is, well, we'll talk about it. So it says here on the front, includes over 25 minutes of never before seen features. That's true. It comes with two specials. One of the specials is called "Things Not are as Not as They Appear: The Making of the Cloverfield Paradox" and "Shepherd Team: The Cast." And together, it's roughly about 30 minutes. You get a little bit behind the scenes on the making of the movie from "Things Are Not as They Appear," and then you get to hear more from the cast. What's really kind of funny, though, is a lot of the cast is also in the first documentary, so it's just kind of a continuation of that. I didn't really feel it needed to be broken up into two segments, to be honest with you, but okay, fine. Here's the thing, and this is where I think we're going to realize a bit more about the production of this movie. The behind the scenes doesn't really talk about Cloverfield. In fact, everything in regards to the behind the scenes footage, everything takes place on the space station. Now, granted, that's where roughly about, I don't know, 85% of the movie takes place is on the space station. So obviously that makes sense to have the behind the scenes featured there. But when you watch the movie, there's a whole B story of Hamilton's husband trying to get away from the Cloverfield monster that is wrecking up the eastern seaboard in this particular timeline, in this particular universe. No mention of that whatsoever. No mention of that. No connection of that. No connectivity to Cloverfield or 10 Cloverfield Lane. I think there's only one mention of the Cloververse in just the beginning of the Things Are Not As They Appear. Other than that, it's nothing. All the behind the scenes recordings, all of the interviews were taken while they were on production. They were on set because the actors were all in their costumes. They had no knowledge at that point in time that it was going to be a Cloverfield movie. They didn't. They had no knowledge about it whatsoever. You can tell by watching that there was zero knowledge that they knew what was going on. That these people were all talking about being on the space station, working together, trying to figure out, if this is hard sci-fi versus soft sci-fi, kind of comedy and horror mix, the weird things that happen. And of course, they all spoke fairly highly of each other, which is great. At no point am I criticizing that. As a Cloverfield fan, as a pretty big super fan of Cloverfield, I wanted there to be more. For a movie that was tied in to the universe, tied into the main monster, that was a big draw. That was why a lot of people flocked to it on Netflix after the Super Bowl last year. There should have been something in regards to this, I think, that would have tied it together, that would have brought it home, that would have made this a Cloverfield movie, and they completely ignored everything. In fact, Bad Robot and Paramount were only mentioned one time in the Shepherd Team cast interviews. Other than that, there was no mention of J.J. Abrams, no mention of Cloverfield, no mention of a larger universe, no mention of anything. And because ultimately the cast didn't know. But even when interviewing the director and the screenwriter, you can tell that, again, this was before J.J. Abrams stepped in order to find a way to kind of move this into being part of the Cloverfield universe. So that tells me that Paramount had put up the money for it, that Paramount wanted Bad Robot to produce, a smaller budgeted science fiction movie. I believe the budget of this one was around $40 million. And they wanted to put it out there in theaters, but they weren't going to tie it to Cloverfield right away. And I think that's what happened. The same with 10 Cloverfield Lane. It was originally shot under the name Valencia, had a totally different story in regards to the finale, and they just tied it into Cloverfield, and it worked out really, really, really well. This time around, that didn't happen, and that is unfortunate. As a longtime Cloverfield fan who wants more movies in this universe to have them be interconnected, I kind of wish the DVD, the Blu-ray, would have done that. Now, the movie itself is fun. The movie itself is a fine movie. Even with its really odd kind of limited Cloverfield connection, even though it does show the monster. Or this was not even the same monster. This is a different monster on a different Earth, so to speak. that it was still fun to watch again. I still quite enjoyed it, and it kind of felt like a sci-fi B movie that you would see on a Saturday night. You know, there's something that they would just dump straight to DVD. And that's effectively what they did there. Paramount did a pretty good move by selling it to Netflix for $50 million. They profited off of it a little bit. Fans got to see the movie, and Netflix ultimately released the Blu-ray a year later, and I was very fortunate to get a copy to review. Would I recommend buying it? If you are a diehard Cloverfield fan and you want to complete the collection, yeah, I would recommend it. If you're trying to get it for some deeper lore into Cloverfield and just kind of what the universe represents, you can find more videos about that on YouTube that are going to give you a better, way better connection than what you see here on the Cloverfield Paradox Blu-ray. That being said, look, I'm so glad to have it as part of my collection. I have the other two films, and I collect these kind of things. So for me, that's where I stand. But if you're not diehard into it, you're not going to probably want to pick it up. I mean, I don't know what they're charging for it. So if you have Netflix, it's there. So just watch it again there. That's kind of the best thing I'd recommend. The visual quality of the Blu-ray was pretty decent. Looked pretty good on my 4K TV. That was through an upres on my Xbox One X and looked okay. Looked all right. But at the same point in time, I think the 4K UHD through Netflix, if that's even the resolution it premiered it in, I don't even remember at this point. It looks about the same. So you're not going to get a lot of, insane, crazy features on the DVD. In fact, all it has is the scenes, the settings, play, and the 2 bonus features. It's unfortunate that it's as bare bones as this. I do hope one day that they do release a Cloververse box set that does have all the movies, as well as a massive, massive, massive collection of retrospectives and in-depth deep dives, the ARG, how it all ties together, a cohesive timeline of events, and everything else. But I don't think we're going to get that, and you are certainly not going to get that with Cloverfield Paradox on Blu-ray. So again, this is kind of a for collectors only. Or if you've heard about it from people and you don't have Netflix yourself, you might be able to find it at Redbox, and that might be where you get the most mileage out of it. Anyway, those are just my thoughts on this one. I do appreciate the opportunity to review it. Again, I'm not hating on the movie, just in terms of the bare bones Blu-ray. It's just not really worth the price of admission, I would argue. And I will talk to you guys later. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments below, please leave them. Please thumbs up the video, subscribe to 3 Buck Reviews. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.